Okay, guys, welcome to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. We're going to be talking about the UFC 221 fight night predictions and pretty much analysis. And the first fight of six is going to be the Vitor Petrino versus Anton Turkalj. Well, I'm Lousy, by the way, and we are here with.
Yep, and I'm Backhand, and we are predicting this fight. It's the first fight on the main card.
And I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going with Anton. He has 8 takedowns a fight, and he's fighting a guy who doesn't take down people at all. So I'm going with Anton.
So I'm gonna go with this fight. I'm really not quite sure, to be honest. Just because these guys are both 25 and 26 years old. So these two, though, one of them's a striker, and then with all finishes on his record, he's got like 5 fights, all finishes in the first or second round. And then the other guy, Anton Turkalj, he's a wrestler, 8 takedowns per fight. So he's a grappler, only 1 significant strike per minute. He really doesn't try and strike, but he's got good head.
You heard that right. 1.
He's got 1.
1 strike per minute. That's 3 strikes a round. That's that's nothing. So all his offense is in the takedowns, but when the other guy doesn't have any takedown defense, it's gonna be a problem. And I'm going with Anton. So Anton for the win.
And then the takedown defense and percentage that you looked up. What's the takedown defense for Petrino?
Petrino's he stuffs 66% of the takedowns, but when you have 8 takedowns a fight, you're still taking them down 3 times a fight.
Right.
So
so the thing is that also Turkalj, he's the grappler. Turkalj really, when he doesn't go for like double legs or single legs. He's not going to go for your legs. He's just going to really just stand up and strike with you, but really not throw anything significant, but just enough feints to get you comfortable and then kind of get you out of your game. And then he'll just kind of, for lack of a better phrase, he just kind of just grapples you by just basically bear hugging you almost and then taking you to the ground. The most simple takedown. And then just kind of gets you on the side and then just, drags you to the ground. But he's great at it, and the thing is that in the stand-up, he only has 1 significant strike per minute. So the thing, though, is that his head movement is actually really pretty good. He definitely makes sure to not get hit. He does have good head movement. So even a guy like Petrino, who's got all KOs on his record, Turkalj can basically go forward enough to back up Petrino, and Petrino was getting backed up in his last fight. So Turkalj will be able to kind of get him against the fence, throw the feints, get the head movement going, and then take him down. And that's why we're going with Turkalj. Haven't seen too much of him, but like we said, he's got 70% takedown accuracy. The other guy's got 66% takedown defense. But 8 takedowns per fight is just too much for basically anyone who is not that great. You need to have something at least 80 or 85% takedown defense in order to stop a guy who's taking you down 8 takedowns per fight. So
that's 100% true. Like, if you are stopping this guy consistently, he's gonna try. He's not gonna keep trying with the takedowns. But I just read something like Turkalj has. He at least tries to end the fight once a fight. And Petrino only has not even 1 time as far as finishes per 3 rounds. Like 0.4 per 3 rounds and 0.8 per 3 rounds per fight. So I think Turkalj, I don't think he's going to finish the fight, but I think Turkalj is going to control this fight and win the fight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put like big money on it or anything. I haven't really seen these guys fight too much, just really their last fights, and then looking at the stats. So it's really one of those fights. It's small money or just kind of let it go for me.
Anton for the win. So thanks for listening, guys.
This is UFC Fight Night 221. This is the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. This is Backhand.
This is Lousy.
And we are making predictions. This is the second fight on the main card. It's Syed Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Martinez. And I'm going, this is at bantamweight, 135 pounds. I'm going with Syed Nurmagomedov.
I'm going Jonathan Martinez.
And so just going to run over the stats real quick. So Jonathan Martinez, very aggressive fighter. He has 4.8 significant strikes per minute. And Said Nurmagomedov only has 3.6 significant strikes per minute. Both fighters have a 70-inch reach. And they're both 5'8", so it's going to be a very interesting contest. Both have 0.5 takedowns per fight, meaning they don't go for takedowns. This is going to be fight of the night, in our opinion. Stand-up war.
A known name versus an up-and-comer. So this is definitely a fight of the night candidate. Probably, I think this might be a lock for a fight of the night. So what do you think?
Absolutely. Said Nurmagomedov is the counterpuncher, and Jonathan Martinez is the come-forward pressure fighter. When Jonathan Martinez is going forward, man, he's got great leg kicks, great body kicks, and great head kicks. As well as he knows how to... Yeah, he doesn't get tired. He had his last fight with Cub Swanson and actually hurt Cub Swanson with leg kicks as an example of how good his leg kicks are. He hurt Cub in different times in that fight, but the leg kick really made Swanson have to give up. So the guy has definitely damages people. Very aggressive, very fast kicks, very fast. And like I said, body, leg, and head kicks are all really fast.
The reason I like Jonathan Martinez so much is his toughness, his willing to come forward and not stop. And then Said, even though he might be a better fighter by paper or probably his skill set in general is probably better than Jonathan Martinez. I think the toughness of Martinez and willingness to go forward and keep coming. And so that's why I think Jonathan Martinez is going to win this fight.
Yeah, so for me, the reason I like Said Nurmagomedov in this fight is, like I said, Jonathan Martinez is good going forward. He's got a pretty good jab. He does throw some... He has some heat on his punches. And when he's going forward, he's looking good. His kicks are definitely outstanding, though. And that's what really helps him win fights. Like I said, how he crushed Cub Swanson with a variety of kicks.
The way Nurmagomedov takes control of the fight in general makes me a little nervous for Martinez. But with Martinez's toughness and durability, his cardio, his willingness to go forward, he's gonna win. In my opinion, he's gonna win this fight.
So, exactly, when he goes forward, he's looking good. However, when he's getting backed up, which isn't, I'm not going to say it's going to happen that much in this fight, but if and when it does happen, his counters, in my opinion, are not nearly as good as when he's going forward. So this is the thing. For me, Said Nurmagomedov is a guy who I feel will actually be championed in the next 2 years. I really feel that because of his fluidity. He can literally do it all. He can go forward with combinations. He can go backwards with beautiful counters. He doesn't have a ton of power on his counters, but he can do his spinning back fist. If you've seen that, he used to throw it a lot, and that's when he had a loss about 3.5 years ago, and then he started realizing, okay, his coaches probably told him, hey, stop throwing that spinning back fist 20 times in one round, and you got to start winning these rounds. So
it becomes predictable,
and you're just it's a strike that just never lands. You're spinning, you're trying to hit somebody with it's just really difficult to hit somebody when you're spinning. So he's definitely only goes for maybe 2 per round now, and he does it now more selectively. So he's not losing rounds in a dumb way. The thing is that, like I said, in my opinion, Said Nurmagomedov, he's going to be top 5 in another year, in my opinion. And I feel, man, like that in 2 years, he'll have, beaten some top guys in the top 5, and then he will be getting a title shot, against someone like maybe O'Malley, because I feel O'Malley might be the guy who has the belt. I rewatched that Sean O'Malley, Petr Yan. Petr Yan is the main event for this card, and a lot of people thought Petr Yan beat Sean O'Malley. I feel like Sean O'Malley actually won doing this research for this main event. So I think Sean O'Malley has a really good chance. He got up off the ground with Petr Yan. I think he'll do that maybe with Sterling. I haven't done the research yet, but I'm leaning towards O'Malley. He's just so dynamic and a great talent. So I'm thinking Saeed versus O'Malley, and I'm just thinking I'm thinking about that fight. That's how confident I am that Saeed Nurmagomedov is the next guy. So.
You want to wager on that, bud?
Yeah, let's put 100 on it just to see if he even gets that fight with O'Malley in 2 years. But so this is the thing. Saeed Nurmagomedov is special. He reminds me of a guy, Magomed Sharapov, who was just retired a year or two ago, and he fought in the same camp as John Jones and George St. Pierre. It was Greg Jackson's camp, and all those guys were saying that Magomed Sharapov was the next guy. Magomed Sharapov, he ended up retiring, but I'm telling you, this guy is like basically like him. He's very fluid. Got a phenomenal spinning back kick. He throws it like effortlessly. You got to see that. And so he can throw it out of nowhere. He's got his counters are fluid, great. So when he's backing up, he's very comfortable doing that. Whereas and then even going forward, he can throw some combinations. He can throw. The only thing that I see that he literally has every shot in the book. The only thing that I think that he needs to work on is maybe his front kick. His front kick, a little bit obvious. And front kick is kind of very important when he gets to the higher level. So he'll have to improve that, which I think he will over the next year or two. So, yeah, to create that space, especially with someone like Martinez, this will be actually a good chance for maybe Saeed to work on that in this fight because Martinez is not going to back down. He's going to be coming forward the whole time, basically. The only way Nurmagomedov can get him off of him is to throw some kicks, throw some leg kicks, slow him down, and then try and take the lead in some exchanges to start backing up Martinez sometimes. But that's why it's going to be a great fight, is because Martinez is going to be going forward a lot. So it's not going to be an easy fight for Nurmagomedov. I just think that in the end, all around, Nurmagomedov has the kicks and punches as well as the beautiful counters backing up, whereas Martinez has got the kicks and punches, but mostly the kicks going forward and then going backwards. I just feel like his counters are a little bit slower, and that's the reason why I'm going with him. It's a firefight, and I just think that you got to go with the more complete guy who can fight forwards and backwards.
I love that explanation there. That's such a great explanation.
But listen, this is gonna be fight of the night.
Fight of the night.
Don't miss it.
Like, this is not gonna be a takedown, hold him down. This is gonna be somebody's gonna win this fight. Like, smart money is gonna be in the distance. Like, somebody's gonna win this fight. My money's on Jonathan Martinez with being tough and just being an up-and-comer. And my man backhand here is going to be the name, takes control. Like, probably the better fighter. If you want to be realistic.
He is.
If you want to be realistic, he's the better fighter. But, my money is going to be on Martinez.
I'm excited for this fight. I mean, the fact that Lousey's picking Martinez because Saeed's minus 240, almost 70% chance to win. It's more of the obvious pick, So I love it with Martinez going forward. His kicks are, like I said, amazing. And all of his kicks, from body, head to leg, all of those three kicks, amazing and very fast. So if Martinez just rushes and does these types of things, he's going to land those kicks, those leg kicks and those body kicks. It's going to be a really great fight. And that's why we're thinking it's fight of the night. And it's going to be Saeed, in my opinion, just get with those counters. We'll see if he gets a little too artsy with his little spinning back fist. If he does that, he's in trouble because Martinez can really put a lot of pressure and make you look bad.
Great fight. Can't wait for it. Smart money is going to be in the distance if you want to go that route, but I'm going Martinez.
Hey guys, back for another fight. This is the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast, and we're predicting UFC Fight Night 221. This is the third fight on the card, and this is Backhand.
This is Lousy.
And like I said, third fight on the card. This is Ricardo Ramos versus Austin Lingo. And this is a featherweight fight, 145 pounds.
I'm personally going, it's going to go the distance. One person doesn't have, a ridiculous, overhand, talent over another fighter in this one. Austin Lingo throws more volume. Ricardo Ramos has better wrestling. But, I just don't know. Yeah. This is, a head-scratcher to me.
They got Ramos as minus 360.
Ramos minus 360 in this.
It's like 80%.
That's ridiculous. How is that possible?
I have to say, I was edging towards Ramos if he was a cheaper, but minus 360, they're $360 to make $100. There's no way. And I don't think he's going to finish Lingo. Lingo's the guy who goes forward. Lingo has four significant strikes per minute. And Ramos only has 3.3 significant strikes per minute. And like we said, Lingo's going forward a lot. So Ramos is going to be on his bike running. And so that's why I also agree with Lousy. I think the best bet to make is going the distance, going all 3 rounds. Like we said, Lingo goes forward. He's got really great leg kicks, so he can really stop Ramos from running too much. And that's what's interesting about the fight is that Lingo's got amazing fast leg kicks.
The leg kicks and the volume of actual punches that he throws, and when he does throw, they're like straight. But as far as Ramos goes, it seems like he's just throwing to throw. Like it's wild, like looping. Like he just wants to hit something. Like it's not intended for anything. Like, it's not intended to set up anything. He's just throwing to throw punches. And Lingo seems like he's setting up other things.
I would say this is a fight between a fighter versus an athlete. I would say Lingo is the real fighter. He likes to go forward, put pressure, throw with damage, heavy strikes, 3-punch combinations, really fast, amazing leg kicks. Almost like a Justin Gaethje type fighter as far as his quickness of leg kick. Like he basically goes forward. But the thing is with Gaethje used to go forward and get hit. When Lingo goes forward, he's at his best. He might not land all the time with his big punches. He throws a lot of overhands and some winging punches, but he sets it up, and then he sets up his great fast leg kicks, and he's gonna damage with the leg kicks. They're so fast.
Yes.
And if he lands with any of his hammers, I mean, he's throwing hammers like Justin Gaethje did. So when Lingo goes forward, he's not actually susceptible to getting hit, which is phenomenal, and that's exactly why we're thinking that Ramos, who's more of a counterpuncher and a great, really good athlete, really good balance, really good spinning back kick, relatively fluid, fast, really speedy type guy, he's going to get slowed down because of Lingo's leg kicks. So this is the thing, is that if Ramos even wins the fight, how are you going to win a fight? Ramos already doesn't like to damage his opponents. He likes to throw strikes that are pretty fast. He's got a good jab, pretty good jab. He's got a good overhand right, and he throws that a lot. And then so he just throws single punches, and then he likes to do a spinning back kick. And then he's got a pretty good leg kick. But guess what? Lingo's got an amazing leg kick. So that's the leg kick battle goes to Lingo. Lingo's going to go forward, and then Ramos does have good counters. But again, Ramos has more looping punches. You're going to have to throw more accurate strikes, like straight punches, to really land on Lingo. So it's going to be harder to land on Lingo. Lingo's putting the pressure. And so Ramos is not going to really damage Lingo the way that he wants. And that's why I'm thinking, if you can't damage Lingo, he's one of those guys like Sean. We talk about these types of guys, Sean Strickland, Justin Gaethje. If you don't damage them, they just keep coming at you. And it's like they come faster every round. They get better as the fight goes on. So, giving a slight edge to Ramos, yeah, but going the distance makes a lot of sense. Like we said, Lingo, when he goes forward, doesn't get hit. He does get hit. Lingo does get hit when he's just standing around and lets the other guy lead the dance. However, Ramos doesn't like to lead the dance. Like I said, he only likes to throw a jab here and there, sometimes the overhand right. For the most part, he's not going to take the center of the octagon against Lingo. Lingo will take the center of the octagon. He will pressure Ramos against the cage, and Ramos will be backing up. Because of that, Lingo won't take that damage. So from the counters, because he is really good going forward. So it's a really standard, easy distance bet going all 3 rounds for me.
For me, this is kind of a boring fight to watch because you just don't know what's going to happen. And it's probably going to be like here, there, everywhere. So going the distance, smart money. So have fun with this one. Welcome to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. I am Lousy.
And this is Backhand.
This is our prediction for the main event of the UFC 220 fight night between Krylov and Ryan Spann.
We're going with our predictions. I'm going with Ryan Spann.
Ryan Spann's a good pick. My pick is going to be first round homicide. Someone's getting murdered in that ring. What do you think about that?
I agree, man. It's homicide. Like someone's getting killed.
He's gonna opt out to second degree manslaughter. I think.
Wait, tell me.
He's no jail time. No jail time.
Hey, what's the odds? So you looked up the odds on DraftKings for if it goes the distance versus not going the distance. So not going the distance would be getting finished by submission or KO. Either guy winning, but finished by KO or submission, right? What's the odds of a finish happening?
The odds of the finishing happening, you have to bet $900 to win 100. So minus 900 to win 100. So,
and let me tell you right now, both these guys throw like heavy strikes, man. So like Lousy said, it's homicide. It's a homicide.
Yeah.
So
someone leaving without all their ears is probably going to happen.
All right. So basically, the stats are basically Ryan Spann is the slight underdog, very close. He's like maybe 45% chance to win. Krylov is a slight favorite, 55% chance to win, basically. Spann has a 2-inch height advantage. Spann also has a 1.5-inch reach advantage. And the thing, though, is that Krylov has 4.4 significant strikes per minute, and Spann only has 3.4 significant strikes per minute. So that's Krylov's advantage because Krylov is very aggressive as far as he throws a lot of strikes in a row. He'll throw combinations going forward on the run. So it's a very exciting main event. And the thing is that Krylov also has takedowns. He mixes in takedowns, which makes him even more dangerous. But Spann has also got 1.5 takedowns per fight. So Spann is no slouch on the ground anymore. And so it keeps it into a very interesting fight where he can get up off the ground. And so, Lousy, why do you think Spann has the advantage? We both going with Spann here by murder.
It's just his counterpunching is dangerous. Like, he used to be head down, punching straight forward, like charging. But now he's learned. Like, he's going to get countered and he's going to get dazed and he's going to get taken out. Now he's learned from I think he's learned from ever since the Anthony Smith fight, like, to not just to go forward, to actually think about his punches. But he's still really dangerous power. He still has that dangerous power to not get people out of there. So it's not like he can't submit people, because he has. But he has that power to knock you out like a heavyweight. And this Krylov guy is no slouch either. He's 29 fights by wins. 9 of those fights have been 9 sub 1 minute fights. 12 of those fights have been by KO. So somebody's going to get taken out. That's why it's minus 900.
For the finish.
For the finish, yeah. So I'm not picking a winner. I'm picking somebody who's going to get, need an ambulance. So
yeah, and for Spann, Spann is an absolute, hits like a heavyweight, like Lousy said, absolutely factual. The guy is hitting, he's so heavy-handed, it's unbelievable. And the scary thing is, just on a side note, his last fight where he KO'd Dominic Reyes out cold, and Dominic Reyes fought, just to give some context of how good Dominic Reyes is and was, before he got KO'd by Prochaska and then just got KO'd by Ryan Spann, John Jones is just coming back next week to fight, moving up to heavyweight to fight for the heavyweight championship versus Cyril Gane. And guess who John Jones' last fight was? A close, very razor-thin, close win against Dominic Reyes. That's how good Dominic Reyes was. He challenged John Jones.
Very debatable fight, by the way. Very debatable.
A lot of people thought Reyes won rounds 1, 2, and 3, and then Jones won 4 and 5, but they gave, I think, round 2, 4, and 5 to Jones, and that's why he won. But it was a very, very close fight. So that's how good Reyes was, and Spann took him out. Like, every exchange just basically owned him, and Reyes looked pretty good in the fight, but it was just Spann just, like Lousy said, he's turning into more of a counterpuncher and a smart fighter as far as his punch selection. He's not just going forward with with reckless abandon. He's smart.
Great main event here. It's going to be a fun fight to watch. Let's go.
Let's go. Indeed. I mean, the thing is that, all right, so this is the thing. Krylov likes to go forward. Spann likes to back up and counter now. So like Lousy said, Spann really learned that going forward too much when he has his man hurt, like he had Anthony Smith hurt, he had Johnny Walker hurt when they fought. Spann went forward and then he got countered and got hurt by both fighters and going over aggressive. And now he's realized he wants to stay back. That's what he did with Dominic Reyes and let Reyes hang himself and just run into the power of Ryan Spann with the counter punches. Ryan Spann can also throw 3-punch combinations and with heavy punches on every one of those 3 punches. It's unbelievable, his power. Like Lazi said, it hits like a heavyweight. He's not even exaggerating a little bit. It's scary, this guy with his power. So the thing is that Krylov likes to go forward, Spann likes to back up and counter, so it's perfect for a counterpuncher. However, Krylov also likes to mix in takedowns. But Krylov is falling in love with his combinations. He throws lead uppercuts. He'll start with an uppercut and throw some punches and then a kick. He's absolutely wild guy. 4 or 5 strikes on the run coming forward, and then he can get you against the fence and clinch you and take you down. He's got solid takedowns. Ryan Spann got submitted 3 fights ago by Anthony Smith, so people might say Ryan Spann, I don't know about his ground game. However, in his second to last fight, he fought a boxer named Ian Kudalaba, and Ryan Spann only has, Ryan Spann also has 12 submissions on his record too, so he's not just a KO artist, he's a submission artist, which is unbelievable. And proof of it is in his second to last fight, he fought Ian Kudalaba. He won by submission in the first round. He got taken down twice, and he got up off the ground because he knows how to get up off the ground really well now. He's really, improved that. And then he somehow caught Ian Kudalaba. They were clinching again in the first round after the 2 takedowns where he got up from that, and he just knows how to the body position and then kicked him off, Kudalaba off. Amazing ability to get up off the ground. And then he just got him in a choke, I believe. And it was just kind of it was a surprise. It was a very shocking surprise because a lot of people think Spann is just a knockout artist because of lately he's been KOing people. But man, the guy's submissions are really top notch actually. So this is the thing. In my opinion, yes, Krylov could go for the takedown. I don't think he's going to go for too many takedowns because he's really getting over aggressive. When he goes for his 4 or 5 punch, 4 punch combos with a kick and stuff like that on the run, his head is in harm's way. He took a lot of damage against Ozdemir, actually. He got punched a lot. He did KO Gustafsson in his second to last fight, but Gustafsson was chinny.
Yeah.
And lousy, we talked about that. Me and you talked about that, how Gustafsson is chinny. He's been getting KO'd by everybody. Just a lot of people are hurting him. Fabricio Verdum hurt him. I mean, he's a grappler, and he hurt him.
Well, Gustafsson is a Hall of Famer, but he's done.
He is done. He's just taken too much damage over the years. And so, he got punched. He barely got scraped almost by the punch. It was like an overhand. And Gustafsson just got put down. He got right back up, and then he just got hit again too many times later on in the fight. He was doomed from the start. And I don't want to say that Krylov's not a great striker. I'm not trying to say that Krylov's a bad striker. He's a good striker. However, the KO over Gustafsson is his second to last win, even though Gustafsson is a Hall of Famer. It's just not. You can't really you got to take that into context and know that Gustafsson was absolutely chinny. His skull, he's just bad. He's a hurt fighter. He's a beat fighter going in. No offense, I like Alexander Gustafsson, great guy. But in his last fight versus Ozdemir, man, he would go forward, getting hit a lot in the first round. He got better as the fight went on and took less damage. However, Ozdemir also slowed down, and that's what really gave Krylov the advantage. But think about if he kept getting hit more and more and Ozdemir didn't gas out. I mean, it would have been a hell of a firefight. And that's the problem. When you're going against a guy like Spann, and you're coming in with these punches and recklessly a little bit when you're throwing 4 or 5 strike combinations on the run,
you're going to get countered.
Spann will counter, right? Spann will counter and counter you hard. He will wait for the right spot and really hurt you. Like we said, he's getting really smart, really picking his chances to counter a lot smarter than he used to.
Being more patient with his strikes instead of going headstrong into it.
Yeah, so the other thing is that Krylov also, other than the 4 or 5 strike combinations, he's got a really good body kick. Dominic Reyes also has a really good body kick, which he showed in Spann's last fight. And guess what Spann did? He was able to time that and actually counter right after the body kick. So I'm telling you, in every single way, Krylov's body kicks are going to get countered by Spann. His 4 or 5 strike combinations on the run, Spann's going to counter him there. When he takes him down, Spann will be able to get up off the ground. I really see Spann really hurting him. I think he finishes him in 2 rounds, to be honest. That might be a little bit of an arrogant prediction, but it just feels like he's going to counter him. And Krylov is really susceptible to getting hit a lot in the first round, like he showed against Ozdemir. I think... yeah, man. This is going to be a bad night for Krylov. He's a favorite, but I think Spann is going to show. I think Spann lost to Walker, and people are thinking Walker's not even top 7. That's why Spann is the underdog. They're not realizing that Spann got over-aggressive, and Spann has now changed into a counterpuncher. But this is the things that we realize is that sometimes the bookmakers don't realize that the evolution of a fighter is happening, and this is what's happening.
You learn and adapt, but I like your pick with Spann, but in the distance is my prediction. And first round murder.
Yeah.
Manslaughter for
Yep,
sure.
I'm gonna definitely be betting Spann. But yeah, I agree. I mean, both guys can finish. A lot of finishes on their record, so it's a great fight. Going with Spann. Lousy is too, but Lousy is going for the in the distance. He really thinks one of them is gonna hurt. Just put each other out. Someone's gonna finish the other person.
Welcome to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. We're gonna be talking about the UFC Fight Night 221 co-main event between Alexander Volkov and Alexander Romanov. I'm going Alexander Romanov I'm gonna just in the distance. I don't really know KO or submission, but one of the two.
And I am going with, actually, this is another fight where I'm going with, I think it's going to go the distance just because normally I would pick Romanov, but his last fight, he just looked like he might have been injured, and I just don't know if it's a long-term injury. But no, his normal thing is he has 5 takedowns per fight, and Volkov is a stand-up fighter, and he got taken down at will and just held down by Curtis Blades for 5 rounds. It's just one of those things. He got submitted 2 fights ago as well. So Volkov just is still susceptible to getting taken down and submitted and held down, in my opinion. So it's a slight edge to Romanov for me. And then the reason I think it's going... the only reason I'm really going with the distance bet that's going to go all 3 rounds is because I'm not sure in his last fight against Tyburo, Romanov just looked injured. He was hunching over for his takedowns, couldn't really get takedowns. It looked horrible. I just hope he's doing better. If he is doing good, he'll just run through Volkov. So Volkov is 34 years old and Romanov is 32. So Romanov is the fresher guy, younger guy. So Volkov does have a 5-inch reach advantage and 4.8 significant strikes per minute, and Romanov has 3.7. But I'm telling you, 2 fights ago when Romanov was fighting Chase. Jared Vanderaa, he was 3 fights ago. He submitted his second last fight in like 2 minutes, so that's how good he is on the ground. But 3 fights ago, he fought Jared Vanderaa, and I'm telling you, man, all of his strikes looked super solid, fast. He was doing whatever he wanted, dynamic when he was his footwork was really good, and he would come forward, and he was just smart. Head was in the right place, wasn't getting hit. Takedowns were amazing, very fast, very dynamic with the wrestling. So yeah, if that guy shows up, it's an easy win for him, I feel.
The only way Volkov wins this fight is because of his leverage with his punches, because he is 6'7". He's a 6'7" heavyweight that throws down. So if he can use his leverage with his striking and keep it on his feet, he's probably going to win this fight. So in the distance is probably a reasonable bet in this, because Romanov is going to take him down if he's going to win this fight, and Volkov's going to win this fight if he's able to keep it up. So
and then the over, I think, is it's for just to go over 1 round is minus 180. So you're getting a really good price if you are betting on it going just more than 1 round. That's what I'm gonna do. Spend 180 to make 100. And I think it at least goes more than 1 round. But you never know. I mean, if Romanov... it's heavyweight, so you never quite know. That's why I'm going for a smaller bet, just because I'm not sure which Romanov is going to show up. So that's my prediction, and thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. We are talking about the UFC Fight Night 221, and we are talking about the main event between Petr versus Merab Dvalishvili. There's no way I got that last name right, but let's go with Merab. So Jan versus Merab, and I'm gonna go with going the distance. And what do you think about that, backhand?
Yeah, man, I'm thinking the same way. I'm going with... The funny thing is they have Petr Yan as a minus 250 favorite. They got him as a 70% favorite, and so minus $250 to make it 100. So my prediction is that it's going to go the distance, going to go all 3 rounds, and it's actually minus 200 to do that. So it's cheaper to actually bet going the distance than it is to bet on even the favorite of the fight. who is a former champion and just lost his belt. And so this is the thing about the fight. We have the stats. They're basically even on everything. They have like roughly the same reach, same height. Only difference is that Peter Yan has 5.3 significant strikes per minute, and Merab has 4.2 significant strikes per minute, but Peter Yan has 1.8 takedowns per fight, and Merab Dvalishvili has 6.5 takedowns per fight. He's a dominant wrestler. So this is the thing, though, is that Merab Dvalishvili is one of those fighters who likes to go forward. And Yan also likes to go forward, but Dvalishvili really likes to go forward. Like, he'll rush you with punches and then just clinch you against the cage. He'll really waste time on the clock and then try and take you down. And he's just rinse and repeat. So,
to go off what he says, Merab is setting up the strikes to bring you down against the cage or just bring you down in general. Petr Yan is going for his strikes to set up something more powerful with his strikes. Like with his speed and his leg kicks, it's more like athletic with his strikes. As far as Merab goes, it's more like straight and trying to set up his takedowns. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, man. So I feel like Petr Yan does have the edge on the feet. Petr Yan has really good defense and offense. The thing though is that Petr Yan kind of likes to he doesn't really. He's not super dynamic with his footwork. He doesn't like to go really fast and really, strike with you like that. He likes to just inch forward here and there, kind of little hesitations, to little feints, little here and there. Keeps his hands on his head, very much like a tank, but a very slow tank. So it's hard to really damage him, which is the reason why I'm liking that it goes a distance all 3 rounds. And then his aggression, he likes to really pick and choose his spots. And against people who don't have a good defense or get over aggressive, he can hurt them. Or if they let Petr Yan go forward, like Petr Yan likes to go forward, then he'll do good against them. However, Merab Dvalishvili, he likes to go forward even more than Petr Yan. So I see Merab really going forward, taking the center of the octagon, going forward, pushing Petr Yan more back. And the reason for that is Merab is more of a guy who likes to really speed forward, almost like lunging in and really like sprinting forward with punches. But he's not getting reckless. 2 fights ago against Marlon Moraes, he was doing the same thing, going forward, and he was getting hit a lot while he was going forward and throwing punches. And even though he won the fight, he almost got knocked out. Like, he was basically the announcers, I can't remember who it was, who was the commentators, but they were like, wow, a lot of people would have stopped this fight. We would have said it was going to be fine to stop the fight. As he was getting ground and pounded into almost being unconscious by Marlon Moraes. So he ended up coming back. It was an amazing lion, he had a lion heart. It was amazing to see him come back, and he won the fight dominantly with his wrestling and going forward and clinching against the fence and, doing all the things he needed to do to win a fight against a guy who's a great striker. But in his last fight, he fought Jose Aldo, which was, I think, Jose Aldo's retirement fight. And Merab was just brilliant. He, instead of going forward with reckless abandon and getting punched while he was punching, Merab came up with a completely new game plan. He was going to keep the distance. So now he would basically, he's standing farther away from his opponent, Jose Aldo, in this fight. And he would only go forward when Jose Aldo was kind of like starting to hop around. And right when it was a good chance to throw punches and not get hit, that's when Merab would dart forward. And then he would clinch Jose Aldo against the cage. And then he would go for takedowns. But Jose Aldo has probably the best takedown defense of all time. So he didn't get taken down. But that was what Merab did. He basically waited for the right moment where he would throw 1, 2, or even sometimes 3 punches and then just rush Aldo, get him against the cage and go for takedowns. And when they were standing at the center of the octagon, he was keeping that distance perfect because of his fight with Marlon Moraes. He didn't want to take any more punishment. So he's really keeping that distance perfect now. And against a guy like Yan, he's going to do the same thing. Merab is going to take the center. He's going to keep that distance, though. And when he gets the right read and he sees that Petr Yan is covering up too much or is, a little hesitation, that's when Merab will dart forward with some punches. not really looking to really land too hard, but he does throw with some heat and to scare the other guy, and then he really just rushes and puts you against the fence. So I don't see Merab getting submitted because he's the much better grappler with 6 takedowns and got submissions on his record. And Petr Yan is more of a guy who can wrestle, but he likes to stand up and really is that slow tank. So Merab is not going to get the finish because he's really just goes for just the rush against the fence. He's not really looking for double legs perfectly and really transitioning to single legs. He's really just trying to clinch you against the fence and basically stall. That's what he's trying to do, and that's why going the distance, going all 3 rounds, makes a lot of sense in this fight.
That's 100% true. One fighter is trying to strike to keep the fight on the feet. Another guy is trying to strike to get the fight on the ground. So, this fight might be a little bit boring.
Yeah.
But like, as far as main events go, but like Yan is a great fighter. Dvalishvili is a great fighter. This fight's gonna go a distance. But that's my prediction, and thank you.
Yeah, man, minus 200 to go all 3 rounds. So it's a great price. Like we said, Merab is going to keep that distance, so he's not going to get hurt because he learned from that second to last fight with Marlon Moraes, and so he's going to be leading the dance going forward. So, he's just going to basically be clinching a lot. Yan is going to have to fight him off and just try and counter here and there. But again, Merab's keeping that distance. So Merab can't really finish Yan, but Yan can't finish Merab because Merab is being really smart these days and keeping that distance. So it's going to be a kind of a rinse and repeat, boring fight. But Merab is getting wins. So who knows exactly who's going to win? But we know it's going to go the distance. So that's the play, guys. So appreciate the listening. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening, guys.